They landed in the UK full of confidence. New job, new country, same English language, or so they thought. 2 weeks later, some of them were already questioning everything. Their career choices, their mental health, and in a few cases, whether they even wanted to stay. Because what sounds like a simple move on paper, an American working in the UK, turns out to be one of the biggest culture shocks nobody warns you about. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, like my video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. At first, it feels exciting. The accents, the historic buildings, the idea of work-life balance everyone talks about online. Americans arrive thinking this will be easier, slower, maybe even healthier than back home. They imagine shorter hours, relaxed offices, polite coworkers, and a system that actually protects workers. Day one feels promising. The office looks calm. No one is shouting, no one is rushing. People politely offer tea. It feels civilized. Then the emails start coming in. Not aggressive, not rude, just blunt, cold, short, no emojis, no small talk, no hope you're doing well, just tasks, deadlines, expectations, and already something feels off. Americans are used to overcommunication, enthusiasm, praise sprinkled everywhere like seasoning. In the UK workplace, praise is rare, subtle, and sometimes completely absent. Silence doesn't mean approval. It means you're expected to just know. By day 3, the first confusion sets in. Meetings end without clear conclusions. Instructions feel vague. When Americans ask clarifying questions, they're met with polite smiles and indirect answers. No one says no directly. No one says yes clearly either. Everything is wrapped in understatement. You might want to look at that actually means this needs to be fixed immediately. That's interesting does not mean interesting at all. By the end of week 1, the hours start to feel heavier. Americans are used to long workdays, but they're also used to intensity. Fast pace, quick wins, visible effort. In the UK, the pace is slower, but the expectations quietly pile up. People stay late without saying why. Leaving exactly on time feels wrong, even if no one tells you not to. There's an unspoken pressure to stay, to blend in, to not look lazy. Lunch breaks are short, sometimes skipped. And suddenly, that famous UK work-life balance feels like a myth. Yes, there are protections on paper. Yes, there are holidays. But culturally, there's a strong sense of just get on with it. No complaining. No dramatics. Definitely no emotional venting at work. And that's where the Americans start to crack. Because in the US, burnout is talked about, managed, at least acknowledged. In the UK, exhaustion is normalized. You're tired? So is everyone else. You're overwhelmed? Welcome to adulthood. Americans quickly realize that expressing stress can quietly label you as weak, dramatic, or unable to cope. Then there's the banter. At first, it sounds funny. Sarcastic comments, teasing, jokes at your expense. Americans laugh along, assuming it's friendly, but after a few days, it starts to sting. The jokes are dry, personal, sometimes relentless, and if you react seriously, you're told to lighten up. If you push back, you're not a good fit. Navigating British humor becomes a full-time mental task. By the second week, the emotional toll kicks in. Americans start second-guessing themselves. Am I bad at my job? Did I misunderstand that comment? Was that feedback? Or an insult? The lack of direct reassurance messes with their confidence. Back home, effort is visible. In the UK, effort is expected and rarely acknowledged. Then comes the shock around sick days. Americans assume taking a sick day is fine. Technically it is. Culturally, not always. Calling in sick for mental health feels risky. You sense the quiet judgment, the raised eyebrows, the unspoken question of commitment. Some Americans go in sick just to avoid standing out. Hierarchy also hits hard. UK workplaces often have rigid structures even when they look casual. First names don't mean equality. Casual dress doesn't mean casual authority. Americans who speak up too confidently are seen as arrogant. Those who push ideas aggressively are told to tone it down. Initiative, which is praised in the US, can feel like overstepping in the UK, and suddenly the excitement is gone. By day 10, many Americans feel emotionally drained. Not from hard labor, but from constant self-monitoring. Watching tone, watching words, watching body language, trying to decode what people really mean. It's exhausting. You're speaking the same language, but somehow, you're always translating. Homesickness creeps in quietly. Not for family, but for familiarity. For clarity. For workplaces where feedback is direct, praise exists, and expectations are spelled out. Some Americans start scrolling job listings late at night. Others count down weekends like lifelines. And then, the breakdown moment. For some, it happens on the commute home, staring out the train window, realizing they've never felt this invisible at work before. For others, it's after a meeting where they thought they did well, only to receive a vague email later hinting otherwise. No clear criticism, no clear fix, just uncertainty. 2 weeks in, and the question hits hard. Can I actually do this? Some push through. They adapt. They learn the codes. They toughen up. But many don't. Some quit within the first month. Others stay but emotionally detach. The UK didn't break them because it was cruel. It broke them because it was subtle, quiet, emotionally restrained in a way Americans aren't prepared for. And the hardest part? Nobody back home understands. Friends say, "But you're in Europe." Family says, "At least you have healthcare." But mental exhaustion doesn't care about geography. Culture shock doesn't need a language barrier. For many Americans, working in the UK becomes a lesson they never expected. That comfort isn't about policies or benefits, but about feeling understood. And that realization hits harder than any workload ever could. Have you ever wondered what really happens when an American moves to the UK for work? At first glance, it seems like the dream. A new country, new experiences, and the chance to grow your career overseas. But what no one warns you about is how quickly the excitement can turn into confusion, frustration, and even emotional breakdown. In this video, we follow the journey of Americans who thought they were prepared for the British workplace experience, only to discover that the reality is far more challenging than they ever imagined. From the moment they step into their new office, Americans are hit with subtle cultural shocks, blunt emails, understated feedback, and humor that's almost impossible to read, can turn what should be a normal workday into a mental minefield. The UK workplace may seem calm, polite, and professional, but behind the polite smiles and cups of tea lies a world of unspoken expectations. Where Americans are used to open communication, constant praise, and direct feedback, the British approach can feel vague, confusing, and even isolating. Within just 2 weeks, the emotional toll starts to show. Americans experience a progressive shift, from excitement and curiosity to confusion, frustration, and mental exhaustion. They quickly learn that staying late is often expected. Taking breaks can feel judged, and office banter can cut deeper than any direct criticism. Even small differences, like the understated way people communicate or the unspoken hierarchy in teams, can lead to self-doubt and stress. Mental energy is drained, as they constantly monitor their tone, body language, and words, trying to adapt to a culture that is polite on the surface but subtly demanding beneath. This video isn't just about work culture, it's about emotional resilience, adaptation, and self-discovery. Some Americans adapt and thrive, learning the rhythm of British office life, mastering the humor, and finding ways to succeed without losing themselves. Others realize that the UK isn't a fit for their personality or work style, and leave with a clearer understanding of what kind of workplace environment they truly need to thrive. By examining the struggles, breakdowns, and eventual lessons learned, we get an honest look at life as an American expat in the UK. If you're thinking of moving abroad, working overseas, or just curious about the differences between UK and US work culture, this video is a must-watch. We explore the subtle cultural differences that create shock, the mental and emotional challenges Americans face, and the unexpected lessons about resilience and personal growth. From long hours to understated criticism, from office banter to navigating unspoken rules, this documentary-style video gives you a detailed, realistic view of the challenges and breakthroughs of living and working in the UK as an American. By the end, you'll understand why some Americans thrive while others break down after just 2 weeks, and how cultural awareness, patience, and adaptability can make or break the experience. This video will keep you on the edge of your seat, offering insights, dramatic storytelling, and relatable scenarios that anyone working abroad can connect with. Watch, share, and comment if you've ever experienced culture shock or worked in a different country. And don't forget to subscribe for more eye-opening stories about Americans navigating life overseas.